So let's talk about the Custom Polygon node in DaVinci Resolve Fusion. If you have never used it, it's basically a shape generator where you get to draw whatever polygon you want. And what makes it really interesting is that you can animate it so that the shape itself changes over time. That's exactly what's happening in this clip. What looks like a simple animation with a few shapes is actually built around one node at the center of it all, the custom polygon. At the start, there's a white shape and a green circle. Then they start to move. A solid red rectangle comes into the picture. Things float around, drift apart, come back together. But look at the white outline shape. That's the one doing all the work. It starts as a round ellipse. Then it becomes a circle, then an octagon, then a square tilted on its corner, a diamond, then a triangle. And it keeps going, rotating and flipping through different orientations. That entire morphing sequence, one node, the custom polygon. We are not building this custom polygon animation from scratch in this video. Instead, I'm starting with the finished Fusion project and the full node graph already built. And what I will do is give you the big picture and explain what each node does and how they work together. Also, I'm not going to open every single node and go through settings one by one. That's not the point here. The point is you understand the structure and the logic. If you want the actual composition file, I can send it. Just email me with the subject line custompolygonanimation.com request, and I will send you the .com file so you can open and study it. Here is the node graph. Let's walk through it from right to left, because that's how it flows in Fusion. Inputs on the right, outputs on the left. The shape starts here. There are two basic shape sources, a rectangle and an ellipse. The rectangle is the red square and the ellipse is the green circle. Each one feeds into its own background node, BG red and BG green, which just give them their colors. After the color, both shapes pass through an XF size node that controls the scale over time. Then they each go into an XF pass. That's what makes them move. It animates their position along a path. Here is where the two shapes diverge. The red rectangle through XF plus 1 feeds up into merge 5. The custom polygon, labeled polygon custom, feeds into background 1, which also connects into merge 5. So merge 5 is combining just those two, the red rectangle and the morphing polygon. The green circle takes a different route. After XF pass, it hits a pipe router node. That's just a wire routing tool. It doesn't touch the image at all. It's purely here to keep the graph tidy. From there, the green circle feeds directly into merge 6 as the foreground layer. Merge 6 also receives the output of merge 5. So merge 6 is where all three shapes finally land together in one frame. The polygon, the red rectangle, and the green circle. Now there's something interesting here. You can see that path 1 and background 1_7 are darkened in the node graph. Those nodes are disabled. They are switched off. They don't contribute to the final image right now, but they are still in the graph. And path 1 has a comment attached that says, and this is the actual node, please don't delete this node. That tells you everything. Path 1 is referenced by one of the XF path expressions in the graph. It's the shape that was used to define the motion path. Even though it is not rendering something else depends on it being there. Delete it and something breaks. Background 1_7 is just a plain white 1000x1000 canvas. The background that pass 1 was drawn onto when it was active. So this chain, pass 1, background, merge 3, is essentially parked. It's there for reference and to keep the expressions intact, not to contribute anything visible. Merge 3 and merge 2 stack on top of each other. Both feed down into the main merge 1. Background 1_5 feeds into merge 1 as the background layer, with everything from above dropping in as the foreground. And merge 1 outputs straight to media out 1. That's the final result you see on the edit page. One more thing worth pointing out. Between merge 2 and merge 6, there's an XF_Ani node and a crop 1 node. XF_Ani is actually a transform node, not a timing controller like the name might suggest. Looking at its settings, it has an animated angle parameter and is keyframe. So XF_Ani is rotating the composition over time. That's the spin you see on the shapes as the animations plays out. Crop 1 is not just cropping, it's also repositioning the visible frame. Essentially, it's taking the wider canvas that XF_Ani is rotating and framing the exact window you want to see in the final output. So what is the custom polygon actually doing? In Fusion, the custom polygon node lets you place control points to define any shape you want. But unlike a basic ellipse or rectangle, you can keyframe those controls points individually. So at frame 0, the points form a circle. At frame 100, those same points have moved to form a triangle. Fusion interpolates between them. The shape smoothly shifts from one polygon to another. One thing worth pointing out from the settings, solid is turned off. And there's a border width set instead. That's why the polygon appears as a white outline rather than a filled shape. That's a deliberate choice. It gives the morphing shape a clean, graphic look that reads clearly against a dark background without competing visually with the solid red rectangle and the green circle. That's exactly what's happening here. The white outline shape starts round, soft and ellipse-like. Then the points pull apart and it becomes more angular, an octagon, then a square, then a diamond, then a thin triangle pointing right, then flip down, then pointing left, then up. Every one of those is just the same polygon, with its points keyframed to different positions at different times. What's cool about this setup is how clean it is. The heavy lifting, the morphing shape animation, is contained inside a single custom polygon node. The rest of the graph is just compositing. Colors, sizes, paths, merges. That makes it really easy to swap things out. Want a different color? Change the background mode. Want the shape to move differently? Adjust the XF_path. Want a totally different morph sequence? Just edit the keyframes inside the custom polygon. It's a modular setup, and it shows you don't need a complicated graph to get something that looks dynamic on screen. So that's the custom polygon node in action. One shape node, multiple keyframes, a clean morph from form to form. If you haven't experimented with it yet, it's worth opening up and just playing around. Draw a shape, set some keyframes, move the points around, and see what happens.